Like no other year, 2020 has seen us experience what feels like unending change. In changing environments, regular habits of what we do and how we do it that have evolved over time, they seem to go out the window. We're thrust into a new realm of needing to make continual decisions and significant decisions. But we're not even sure whether they're going to be right or wrong, or, to be honest, even relevant in 24 hours' time with the continually changing nature of a COVID-19 impacted world. Now, though some of us might have enjoyed some of the changes, maybe less commuting, for most people, the pandemic has had a slow burn effect on our energy resources. 2020 and even into 2021 has been an exhausting period of life. Stress researchers have found that when we're confronted with increasing demands, we initially try to cope with them by putting extra energy in. And as a consequence, prolonged exposure to higher demands increasingly wears us out. You see, stress and energy depletion is cumulative. Throughout the day, over the weeks, or even the months, when we do not effectively recover from our strain, it just keeps on piling up and up and up and draining our energy. Over the months, our energy and then our energy reserves can get totally depleted. Now, the general rule of thumb when talking about chronic energy depletion is that we usually need almost as much time to build our energy reserves back up as it took to drain them. No wonder that the cumulative effect of 2020 and early 2021 for many people has been a lingering sense of fatigue, and fatigue that a 2-week holiday just doesn't seem to fix. What we need to do is reduce our strain is regular and habitual routines that promote recovery and replenishment of our energy reserves over time. And that word habit actually is very important, because trying to make more decisions each week to choose when and how to take that extra bit of recovery time, well, that's exhausting in itself. So we need to form good habits, including habits of recovery, rather than force in a few ad hoc breaks on top of all the other things we're trying to do. We need to seek to craft habits that replenish over time and reverse those adverse impacts of stress. But not all leisure time is equal when it comes to the recovery of energy. What the last 20 years of research on recovery has found is that what's most effective is psychological detachment, which is the practice of fully disconnecting from specific demands, both physically and mentally. And 2 categories of activities that have been found to do that the best are activities that are, 1, enjoyable, that is, they generate various positive emotions from seeing or hearing or doing something, and secondly, activities that we consider constructive for us, things that result in a sense of progress and achievement, things that kind of help us move forward. Here are some examples of some recovery habits that can relate to your physical, emotional, and spiritual areas of life. One would be actually having some routine positive social activities such as attending a concert, or meeting with people who help you grow spiritually, or engage in some cooperative physical exercise with people, or indoor games with friends and family. Another would be to engage in creative leisure activities where you feel like you're making something or you're expressing yourself in a creative way. You could take regular time in so-called green environments such as parks and bushlands, hills, or blue environments, things like near the sea, on the coast, or rivers and lakes. Now, if you're more introverted, just doing that by yourself will be just fine. But if you can pair up with a friend on a walk, that can actually multiply that benefit. That would be definitely true if you're more extroverted. But even short lunchtime walks or short lunchtime relaxation exercises or meditating on your core spiritual beliefs and purposes, those things have been found to increase recovery for the afternoon. The 2 surest ways to recover is to engage in moderate to strong physical exercise and get plenty of quality sleep, and usually those 2 things are related. Now, the most common reason why people fail to develop better habits is that usually our initial habit goals are just way too ambitious. Crafting a few tiny habits over time is a much better approach. Consider a tennis player. Professional tennis athletes, what they need is extended time following major tournaments to recover from those weeks of intensity. But they also need good recovery processes post-match to prepare them for the next opponent. But the key to having energy actually in the game is how they can slow their heart rate down and recover in those short 20 seconds between each point. Tiny habits in those 20-second breaks is what enables them to recover and keep going in the match. So we too need tiny habits of recovery that can regularly help us get a little more energy back in each day. We need enhanced weekly recovery habits to help leave us with a little more energy in our reserves overall each week. And also seasonal habits of annual leave where we can ensure that we're engaged in activities that can bring really good detachment from our concerns through enjoyable or constructive tasks rather than merely passive leisure activities such as social media, TV, online shopping or computer games, which have been shown to be less effective for rejuvenation. Habits are behaviours that we automatically repeat in certain situations. So can I encourage you, if you're feeling a sense of stubborn fatigue, to take some time to process what I've shared and actually enjoy experimenting with some different tiny, constructive and/or enjoyable habits of recovery. That given all your other work and life commitments you have, that those things might seem a little more promising or viable or even fun. Importantly, you might want to discuss your ideas with a trusted friend or spouse, or maybe even a mentor, or maybe a larger team who can also encourage you, and maybe they can even be inspired to create some healthy habits themselves.